Hello everyone and welcome back to Dragalia Foundry, a fan channel where everything Dragalia Lost can be found. This video is the fourth in a series of tier list videos ranking the dragons of Dragalia Lost by element. Today's focus will be on shadow dragons, and in case you're wondering, I'm saving light dragons for last since Lilith's Encroaching Shadow just released. After Light, I'll also make one final wrap-up video for the series to revisit the previous elements, especially water, now that Lilith is available, since she has been a pretty big curveball. As a reminder for this tier list series, what I'm most interested in is not just power but the overall utility of investing in a dragon when considering its cost to unbind. So you may want to think of this as more of an investment guide. As has been said in past videos, the discussion is more important than the rankings, and I look forward to reading your posts in the comments below. Hopefully that generates a more robust analysis for everyone. With that being said, let's get started. I've set up tiers from S+ to F, and we'll go through each tier one by one from best to worst, left to right. Let's begin with the S+ tier. One shadow dragon is far and away the most useful in the entire element, and that's the Gold Fafnir. Let me be clear, Gold Fafnir is a utility dragon. He isn't busted or OP as far as power level. In fact, when using him, you're intentionally choosing to forego equipping a stronger dragon. All he does is give you extra rupees when you clear quests, 50% extra when max unbound. Yet the amount of rupees you need to unbind and unlock bonuses for powerful weapons is staggering by the end game. And even though Gold Fafnir doesn't affect stats or damage, he's unique in how crucial he is for farming. You'll need billions of rupees to finish the weapon collection in Dragalia Lost, and every little bit helps. Gold Fafnir is a free dragon obtainable through the Void Battles treasure trade. Enough copies are available to max unbind 4 of the little guy, and whatever you do not accidentally dispose of them. With a few rare exceptions, this is the only way Gold Fafnir is obtainable, and having 4 max unbound copies matters a lot when it comes to endgame farming and grinding. Gold Fafnir's rupee bonus stacks across members of your team, meaning you can earn up to 200% extra rupees per quest. It also works in co-op and on adventures of any element. Anyone on your team page, even if they don't actually enter battle, who's equipped with the Gold Fafnir will still grant you a rupee bonus. Endgame quests normally reward 100,000 rupees, but by using Gold Fafnirs, you can turn that into 150 to 300,000 per quest, depending on how many Gold Fafnirs you can afford to equip while still reliably being able to win. The better your gear, the easier it becomes to solo and even auto endgame quests despite using Gold Fafnirs. And the more you run quests with Gold Fafnirs, the faster you can craft better gear thanks to all of the rupees you earn. There's definitely a positive feedback loop at work here. While Gold Fafnir isn't an immediate staple in your solo endgame comps, you should always use him for backliners in co-op when possible, and over time, you will eventually be able to use him in solo and even auto too, where he makes a world of difference for progression. He's not a traditional pick, but he's so essential that I felt he was worth calling out at S+. Next up is the S tier. To be frank, Shadow is tricky to evaluate because there are lots of strong dragons, but many of them have specific purposes which mean they aren't equally good on all kinds of units. At the S tier, I've included Azazel, Ramiel, and Arsene. All of them are excellent for different reasons. Azazel grants 35% skill haste and 30% HP. His skill poisons foes for 30 seconds and gives the team extra poison punisher for 40 seconds. Azazel is excellent on buff bots and healers thanks to the skill haste, and in Shadow, this specifically makes him the best dragon available for Grace and Patya, who are staples in both auto and co-op play. Azazel improves Grace's consistency for auto battles considerably over the alternatives. He isn't a dragon you'd ever want to use on a pure DPS, but considering how ubiquitous both Patya and Grace are, he's excellent to have and may be worth spending stones on max unbinding. I say may only because he's probably next in line as far as shadow dragons when it comes to Draconic Essence availability. Other use cases for Azazel include Gala Clio, who's commonly included for more Sayeti Reckoning co-op. For the rise of the Sinister Dominion, Grace and Patya may fall off depending on the frequency of Curse of Nihility, but even in that scenario, Azazel will still probably excel on healers like Summer Verica if they're needed. Next up is Ramiel, who provides 60% strength and 50% shapeshift prep. Ramiel's skill poisons enemies and reduces their defense by 20% for 15 seconds, plus it immediately readies the user's second skill for use and passively charges their first and second skill up to 2/3 full for the next 90 seconds thereafter. Ramiel's 60% strength is going to be solid on attacking adventurers who can't utilize skill damage well, and the 50% shapeshift prep is intriguing and irreplaceable as far as utility provided by a dragon slot. In a world of auto shapeshifting and dragon ramp strategies, having an immediate shapeshift due to Ramiel opens up a lot of possibilities. He's actually preferred for Grace in more Sayati co-op to speed up Gala Mim. Another common use for Ramiel is on helpers, since his shapeshift prep does transfer in that context. Of course, for that purpose, it's more important that your friends have a Ramiel than you do, but I still think it illustrates the potential of this type of dragon well. Ramiel isn't the absolute best for DPS, even on basic attackers who can utilize the strength stat, but no other dragon provides his unique mix of strength and utility. Arsene is next, and he's all about raw DPS for attackers who rely upon damaging skills. His abilities grant 180% skill damage total, and his dragon skill deals burst damage. He is limited to the Persona 5 Strikers collab, but for pure offense, he's still nearly unmatched, so spending stones to unbind him is palatable. He saw use during time attack and works well on adventurers like Gala Alex and Veronica. His dragon form is also fantastic on dragon-centric characters like Forte. Arsene doesn't do a whole lot other than raw damage, but for lots of units he is optimal as far as maximizing their DPS, or at the least, optimal in a practical sense since there are no conditions on Arsene's skill damage aura. This is in contrast to Gala Cat Sith, who takes us into the A tier, where she sits alongside Shinobi, Fatalis, and Bronze Fafnir. Gala Cat Sith technically provides 180% skill damage like Arsene, but hers counts as a visible buff, so it's in a different bracket for damage calculations. The net result is that she usually will yield a lot more DPS than Arsene, but her drawback is that you have to keep a combo to use her well. Adventurers equipped with Gala Cat start off with 15 pop print stacks, and each one boosts one skill by 180% damage. Up to 15 stacks can be stored at once, and stacks are replenished by 1 per 25 hit combo, or by 8 when Cat's shapeshift ends. Cat's dragon form is weaker than that of Arsene, but her auto attacks while shapeshifted have a small chance to cause sleep. I put her just below Arsene, despite a higher DPS ceiling, because she's costly to fully utilize. Sure, some units like Yaten have no trouble keeping a combo and won't run out of stacks. Maybe a battle is short enough that it doesn't matter, but if not, you really want an overdamage shared skill to push Gala Cat over the top, since the frequent hits of overdamage contribute toward your combo count regardless of the adventurer you're using. The other big risk to investing in Gala Cat Sith is the curse of nihility in the Rise of the Sinister Dominion. Since her skill damage comes from a visible buff, it's very possible it gets cancelled out and nullified in that setting. It remains to be seen how often that will happen in future quests. Moving on from the Arsene and Gala Cat Sith comparison, we come to Shadow's next best skill damage dragon. Shinobi offers 20% strength and 90% skill damage to Shadow adventurers when max unbound. This is going to generally be your third best option for DPS units, but that by no means makes Shinobi bad. Shinobi has a good dragon form and his dragon skill energizes the team, plus he's free to unbind via draconic essences. If you can't reliably maintain Gala Cat's paw stacks and you don't have Arsene, Shinobi is generally the go-to for DPS units like Joker or Curran. He's great to round out your teams. Some attacking adventurers prefer strength over skill damage like Vita and Gala Chell. For units of this type, the only dragon we've covered so far that works well on them is Ramiel, and he only grants 60% strength. If you prefer raw strength over Ramiel's utility, then Fatalis is a good alternative. He is limited to the Monster Hunter collab, and his power lies in the fact that he's basically an 80% strength dragon. Not all attackers use skill damage well, and for Legend Kaiyan, strength can be handy during the Berserk phase to help shred the overdrive gauge. Fatalis provides 30% to Shadow adventurers with no strings attached, plus an extra 50% to adventurers of all elements, with a drawback that anyone who shapeshifts into him becomes cursed for the rest of the quest. You can just choose not to shapeshift to avoid this downside, and there are even some other workarounds as well. Bronze Fafnir is another oddball choice for A, since he doesn't actually provide any stat boosting abilities. His main use is to increase adventure EXP by 150%, but simply put, max leveling Mana Spiraled adventurers does take a lot of EXP, so every little bit helps. Bronze Fafnir also has a skill that boosts strength by 30% for 15 seconds. Better options exist now, but I've definitely seen Bronze Fafnir used on healers in a pinch. He's not a particularly good dragon in battle, but he is great for his purpose of grinding adventure EXP. Dropping down to the B tier, here I've placed a variety of dragons meant for attackers: Epimetheus, Andromeda, Chthonius, Giovanni, Maritimus, and Nyarlathotep. Sometimes these dragons can be better than the ones I've mentioned so far, but if so, they're more narrow in which adventurers they work well on. Epimetheus is an essence dragon who provides 50% strength and 20% poison punisher. Like Fatalis, the main appeal of this dragon is that he works on units like Linnea and Durant, who can't utilize skill damage dragons. Epimetheus' skill causes poison, and the poison it causes lasts 30 seconds, not the usual 15. If poison is active the entire fight, then Epimetheus will probably work out about on par with or better than Fatalis. If not, as is the case during Legend Kaiyan thanks to Berserk, I think Epimetheus ends up slightly worse. Andromeda is another essence dragon designed for low HP units like Natalie and Valentine's Addis. She offers 40% strength unconditionally and an extra 40% strength and 100% defense when the equipped unit's HP is 30% or below. Andromeda's skill provides a sizable defense buff, but I can't really say that comes up very often. Andromeda's main weakness is that most low HP units prefer to run skill damage dragons, though her extra defense does add a lot of safety, especially on ranged units like Addis. The best fit for Andromeda is maybe on Belina, where she's better than Fatalis, but worse than Arsene. Her 80% strength is very respectable if you're sure to remain at low HP for the whole duration of a quest. Chthonius is yet another essence dragon with a niche, this time around revolving around dragon transformation. He grants 55% strength to start, then 10% more upon the first shapeshift for the rest of the quest, and 10% extra on top of that upon the second shapeshift for the rest of the quest, eventually becoming a 75% strength dragon. This feels like it should be good on adventurers like Lathna and Audric who care about shapeshifting, but in practice, skill damage dragons like Arsene, Cat, and Shinobi tend to just work out better for both of those adventurers. Still, 75% strength on a dragon is respectable once achieved, so Chthonius is a fine filler dragon to use. Giovanni provides 45% strength and 20% critical rate, plus his dragon skill deals damage and grants a permanent 15% critical damage buff if the skill is used while within a buff zone. The permanent increase is novel, and you would think Giovanni is built for buff zone characters like Opera Karina and Dragonule Victor, but again, those adventurers end up just being better off overall with skill damage dragons instead. I would never suggest spending Sunlight Stones to unbind Giovanni, as novel as he may be. He's just outclassed. Maritimus is in a similar situation. She offers 60% strength and her skill causes bleed. She's limited to new years and was once the best dragon in the shadow element, but her days have come and gone. I like her and it's fun to land critical hits with her dragon skill, but that's about all I can say for her these days. She's no longer worth investing Sunlight Stones in if you happen to summon her at this point. The comparison to Ramiel is particularly bad considering he's permanent and grants 60% strength plus the 50% shapeshift prep that she lacks. And rounding out the B tier, Nyarlathotep is a pretty bad essence dragon who was so bad that they even received a buff some time ago. They're still not great, and I'm not sure they're worth unbinding via essences, but being free to unbind led to their placement here. Nyarlathotep grants 50% strength at 30% HP or above, and when the equipped adventurer's HP falls to below 30%, they'll get a shield equal to 60% of their max HP and gain 30% strength for 20 seconds, or until they get hit by an attack and lose the shield. Nyarlathotep might have some potential on an adventure if they could dip down below and above the 30% threshold consistently, but as things are, it's too many hoops to jump through for very little payoff. On to the C tier. And well, you can't spell grace without C, and that's basically what this tier represents. My C tier is full of mixed HP and strength dragons who work well on Grace and potentially other healers like Cleo, but they aren't a priority for DPS adventurers whatsoever. To be clear, all of these dragons are outclassed by Azazel and should be thought of as secondary options in descending order. Grace has such an outsized impact on the game that having a dragon from this tier, if you lack Azazel, is still beneficial. Of course, it is important to note, it remains to be seen if Grace will work at all in future Sinister Dominion quests. High Zodiark grants 35% HP and strength along with 20% dragon time. His skill debuffs defense by 10% for 10 seconds. This is one of the best options for Grace outside of Azazel, but it is a significant drop-off. All copies of High Zodiark are free. Likewise, Nidhogg provides 35% HP and strength, but no dragon time. He is essence eligible and his skill causes blindness. Ibisu offers 40% HP but no strength, and his skill heals the user. He's free to max Unbind from his event. Mini Zodi provides 30% strength and HP, and he's free in the Fafnir Metal Exchange. Maritimus, another welfare dragon, grants 25% strength and HP, and his skill causes freeze with a low chance. And last up, Silk is a 4-star with 20% strength and HP, whose skill deals damage and inflicts a welcome 15% defense debuff for 10 seconds. My ordering here is relatively rough, but all of these options work fine on Grace, and all of them are certainly going to be worse than Azazel. Juggernaut, Phantom, Parallel Zodiark, Barbatos, and Silver Fafnir form the D tier. They are acceptable for beginners since they're easy to obtain and unbind, but eventually you will outgrow them. Juggernaut is a 4-star who provides 45% strength when max unbound. Phantom is an event welfare 5-star who provides 40% strength. Parallel Zodiark is a compendium welfare who has 40% critical damage and 25% strength. Good for units with a high critical rate, but otherwise worse than Phantom and Juggernaut. Barbatos is similarly narrow since he provides 20% strength plus 40% strength when below 30% HP. That only works on low HP units. And finally, Silver Fafnir grants mana plus 50% per quest and has a skill which buffs defense. As of now, mana isn't nearly as crucial to farm as are rupees and adventure EXP, but who knows what the future holds. If Dragalia comes up with a major mana sink, Silver Fafnir might shoot up the ranks. And finally at F, Zodiark, Hikage, Paladimp, and Gloomdrake close us out. They're all cute and fun to use, but 3-star dragon and 4-star story dragon abilities are just too inconsequential to ever genuinely recommend. And well, that does it for my Shadow Dragon tier list. Shadow is a tricky element to evaluate, but I think the best dragons to invest in are Azazel, Ramiel, and Arsene. From there, things can vary a lot depending on what type of adventure you're building. Do you value strength more than skill damage? Does your adventure stay at low HP? Can you maintain a combo? Is shapeshifting a must for your unit? Will poison be active in the quest? All of these questions can factor into which dragons ultimately end up best for a given scenario. Let me know which Dragalia Lost Shadow Dragons you think are best and why in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you as always for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.